Ready.
Welcome to Rabbit Hole Reviews, episode 19. Today we're going to take a quick look at the Glock 19 Generation 4. So, man, I think the Glock 19 is the best Glock ever made. I'll get that out of the way. And the reason I think that, well, my personal reason, which applies only to me, is that I shoot the Glock 19 better than any other Glock 9mm that I own. So that includes the Glock 34, Glock 17L, Glock 17, Glock 43X, Glock 19X, and then this. Out of all those pistols, I shoot this one better than all of them. And all I did was add aftermarket night sights. That's all I've had to do to it. And now I'm not sure if I shoot this pistol better than all the other Glocks 9s that I have because I have more trigger time with the Glock 19, or if it's what I think it is, and it's just the overall geometry of the frame and my muscle memory. And that to me is a big deal. Now, a lot of people say, well, this gun is more accurate, or this one is reliable, or this one has better ergonomics. But what you're looking for is a mixture of all three. Now, obviously, reliability is a big deal. So with all Glocks, they're all equally reliable. Nothing is bomb-proof, but I've never had a Glock fail. Now, I'm sure in the comments, if someone comments on this video, people will disagree. Now, that's just my experience. I haven't had any problems with Glocks. And that's really why you buy a Glock, because of its reliability and its simplicity. I mean, it breaks down into, 4 components? The frame, the slide, the recoil spring, and the barrel. That's it for cleaning. You can clean a Glock in 10 minutes and clean it well. All the controls are very low profile. There's no external safeties to mess with, to fumble with, get caught on anything. It's the quintessential carry gun. That's for me, that's what a Glock represents. Are there more enjoyable guns to look at? Sure. I mean, they don't call it blocks for nothing, right? But, and in some cases, even like the Glock 17, it feels better. The Glock 19 feels better in my hand than the 17. I think it's just the overall dimensions that allows me to shoot better and present the pistol quicker, and as far as its concealability, yes, there are other pistols out there now like SIG 365s and M&P shields. Yes, they're smaller, but 15 round capacity is no slouch. Now, of course, you can use lots of different Glock 9mm magazines. As long as it's not a Glock 26 magazine, any other Glock 9mm magazine is going to work. In terms of the 17 will work in the 19. Obviously, they've got magazine capacities ranging for this pistol from 15 rounds all the way up to 33 rounds. So you've got 17, 19, 24, 31, and 33 round capacities. So I just feel like the Glock 19 is getting overshadowed lately. Now, obviously, Glock disagrees with me because they've come out with a Gen 5 version of the Glock 19. And I will be getting another Glock, another 19 shortly. So I will take a look at the Gen 5 when I get it. But I just feel like with the way the market's trending, with the magazine capacities, they're getting better and better. Now, my current carry piece is a Glock 43X with a 15-round aftermarket magazine. So the capacities are identical. But the trade-off which I made, which I'm really beginning to rethink my thought process there. I thought it would be just as accurate and just as quick to deploy as my Glock 19 with the same mag capacity and easier to conceal. Now, it is easier to conceal by a slight margin. Yes, I mean, The Glock 43X is smaller. I'll give it that. But in my specific case, I'm not as good of a shot, anywhere near as good of a shot with a Glock 43X than I am with a 19. Not only that, I find myself kind of fumbling a little bit more with it than I do with a 19. And again, I think that goes back to some of it's muscle memory and having lots of trigger time on a Glock 19, but also I think it's just the overall geometry of the frame where it gets to a point where in a concealed gun or even a not concealed firearm where it gets too small to be useful. Like you're getting too small for your own good, right? The frame geometry doesn't suit your hand as well. You're just not getting the purchase, and the controls are not the right distance. You have to stretch to operate it. And I think each person has to find the sweet spot. And of course, Glock does that really well. They have a whole wide range of different frame sizes that you can get, ranging from 34 all the way down to a 26. But for me, this comes as close to Glock's motto of Glock perfection as you can get regarding Glocks. All you really need to do, in my opinion, is swap out the sights on a Glock. Now, I don't have any stock sights to show you in this video because I've retrofitted these with a nice set of tritium backup sights, or not backup sights, correction, night sights. And it pretty much gets you exactly where you need to be. And I think after making this video, I'm probably going to switch back to the Glock 19 as my carry piece. Simply because, and I took this out a couple days ago and I shot it, and I hadn't shot it in a while because it's not in my rotation anymore. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I shoot better with this than I shoot with my 43X, which I'm currently carrying. So what am I doing, right? So that's probably what's going to happen. This video could probably go on for an hour. And I really thought long and hard as I was going to make this video, like, how am I going to get enough information across in this video and not make it 45 minutes? Because I could talk all day long about different Glocks and how I like this and that. And yes, I mean, you can customize this gun. That's a whole series of videos you could make, all the different customizations you can make on Glock. So you can customize this Glock 19 like any other Glock. You could spend thousands of dollars on it. If you wanted to totally rework the gun, you could do so. But out of the box, you replace the sights. It has a stock 5.5 pound trigger, very predictable trigger. It's the same mushy Glock trigger that all the Glocks generally have. I find the Glock trigger is perfectly adequate. If nothing else, they are predictable for me. Are there better triggers out there? Sure. And I have plenty of guns that have better triggers than Glocks, but it gets it done. And as long as I can put rounds on paper quickly and accurately, there's a little bit of a learning curve, and you overcome that and you just deal with it. I like the fact that there's no external safeties, nothing to fumble with. You just grab it and go. It's like a revolver in that way. You draw the pistol and squeeze. You don't have to forget to, remember, hey, I got to put this weapon on safe. Is it on safe? Is it on fire? What am I doing? You just pull that pistol, point, and squeeze, and that's it. And that's why I like Glocks, and that's why I carry Glock. But anyway, let's not beat that to death. I want to keep this video under 15 minutes if I can. So let's look at some specs real quick. The overall length of the Glock 19, 7.28 inches. It has a slide length of 6.85 inches. The overall width of the pistol is 1.26 inches. The overall width of the slide is 1 inch. The height, including the magazine, is 5.04 inches. And it has a trigger distance of 2.76 inches. So I'm assuming that distance is from the web of your thumb and forefinger to the tip of your trigger finger is 2.76 inches. I believe that's the case. Probably, someone in the comments correct me on that. It's probably a distance between the tip of the trigger and the back of the back strap. That's my guess. And that's an interesting number that they put down there. I'm not sure why they include that. Someone more knowledgeable than me is welcome to chime in. Weight without a magazine is 21.16 ounces. Weight with an empty magazine is 23.63 ounces. And we're going to go ahead and put it on the scale real quick. And I'm going to do weight with 15 rounds of 115 grain full metal jacket. Your mileage may vary on that depending on the grain weight that you carry. So this is just one data point. Let's see if my scale cooperates. These single take videos, it's always anyone's guess if it's going to work out. These scales get very temperamental when the video starts rolling. Otherwise, they work fine. So we're going to go ahead and do it in, we're going to do it in pounds this time. My guessing is that it's going to come in at roughly 2 pounds with a loaded magazine, which is perfectly fine for me. So loaded magazine of 115 grain, 15 rounds is 1.88 pounds. So let's just say 1.89 pounds. Really, it's more like 2 pounds, let's be honest, right? But overall, like, this is just the perfect handgun. Not to sound like a Glock fanboy, but it's ideal. And, I think that's all I have for you on this one. I want to keep this one short because, well, one, I'm going to do several other Glock videos, probably another 4 other Glock videos in the short term that are coming out. So I don't want to beat you all to death with the Glock 19. This just happens to be my favorite Glock. So I did this one first. And I'm curious to see what the Gen 6 is going to look like and when they're going to come out with that. I mean, obviously they just came out with a 5, but I'm not sure what changes they would make in the Gen 6. But I guess that's up to Glock. But this has been my somewhat abbreviated review of the Glock 19 Gen 4. Stay tuned for episode 20. That's coming out in the next 4 or 5 days. I'm not sure what I'm going to do that on. It's probably going to be a handgun of some sort. And it's probably going to be a revolver. So stay tuned for that. And let me know what you guys think. Opinions, good or bad, of the product or of my video or whatever have you. Fire away in the comments. I do respond. So stay tuned next week for episode 20.